Oh my.
Sakazuki, can you record?
Do you want me to do it on OBS?
Sure.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to give me like 5 minutes to start an OBS rec. If you guys want, you can just use
Okay,
the
gotcha.
PAW
We'll
on
just wait
here.
5 minutes. That's fine.
I think Zoff. Zoff got it. Zoff got OBS.
Because off is already recording. Gotcha, lovely.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna kick things off by just investigating into like the issues you have with the argument. But I guess you have like an outdated version of the argument for theism, or my argument to be very specific.
Sure.
So I'm gonna post a new argument, new version of the argument, and see what contentions you have with it. Right. So this is just like the argument. Right. Of course, the argument is logically valid. Like literally for all the syllogisms that are baked into the argument, there's a separate inference rule. So that's not going to be something which is going to be the contention. The contention is mainly going to be like the premises about meta-ontology. So let's see what your perspective is on the premises and which one you are skeptical towards.
Yeah, sure. Let me go through these.
Alrighty.
So, by being, do you mean existence in the first premise?
Yep.
And what view of existence do you take?
What do you mean by view in this given context?
Yeah, so for instance, you can think that existence is like a predicate of objects. You can think it's a predicate of concepts. Like, what do you think it's like about?
How are
Do
you
you think it's a
defining
predicate?
predicate in this given context?
Just like sort of a feature that's true of something. For instance, like a
Okay,
ball
trivially,
is round.
it's going to be the case that given that definition of a predicate, it would be the case that something like existence would be a predicate. Although that's not agreed upon given how first order logic works, but given that definition of predicate in specific, it would be the case that this would be the
I'm
type of
asking you what
the
it's a
predicate.
predicate of. Like, so for instance, like Quinians, they think that existence is a predicate of concepts, and like my non-gains, for instance, think it's a predicate of objects.
I think concepts is going to be the subset of objects, so I don't really think that's a relevant distinction.
By objects and concepts, they think it's something like
A concept is just a mental
existence.
object.
Like, oh, wait, hold on. So like the Quinian
Hmm.
view is something like existence is quantification. So for instance, it's like saying that there is one of the
Not
concept
just
unicorn.
quantification. No, not just quantification. You're forgetting it has to be over a particular relevant domain, right? It's not just quantification because Quine is not a metaphysical holist. He doesn't believe that
Well,
all things exist.
that was sort of implicit. But
Well, no,
Quinians sort of
it
think
wasn't
that.
implicit. He
Wait,
just said it is
can you stop cutting me off?
quantification.
Wait, can you stop cutting
No,
me
you're
off?
saying it's just quantification. Just stop blundering, please. Right?
That wasn't a blunder.
That was
You're
a
just like
very
really
obvious blunder.
nitpicky right
You
now.
said
Wait,
quantification. You said
do you
Quine's
want to
view
get
on
moderation?
existence. Do you want to stop being retarded?
Do you want
So
to get
you said
moderation?
Quine's view. What are you
Yeah,
doing? What are you
we can
doing?
get moderation.
Calm down. So you said Quine's view on
We can get
existence.
who do you want
Calm down.
Sakazuki to moderate?
Calm down. Relax. You said Quine's view on existence is just going to be the type of view on existence is going to be identical to quantification. That's not true. Do you acknowledge this?
That's not what I said.
That was what you said verbatim. We have the
I did
recording
not say
anyway,
it was
so
identical.
you lying about what you're saying is not going to give you good looks on the
I
optics.
wasn't
Right.
even giving like
So what's the new
clear
claim you want to
cut
make about Quine's view?
sufficient and necessary conditions for the view. I was saying it's sort of
I
like
never
this,
made the
sort
claim
of
you
like that.
specifically said it's a sufficient condition. I'm saying what you said was
I'm just
Quine's
waiting.
view
I'm just waiting
on
until we get moderation
existence.
right
I'm
now.
just waiting for the stop rambling. You said Quine's view on
Because
Look,
ontology.
you're
I
literally
can't.
the one
I can't
rambling
I
moderate
right
don't know
now.
why
yet.
he's so
Look,
I've
scared.
been asking for
He's asking for
moderation for
moderation while he's
very
continuously
simple
interrupting my
statement.
point. This guy's like genuinely autistic, by the way.
You literally started this point by interrupting my point.
Just shut up. Just stop talking.
okay.
Calm down.
Can we get
You're
moderation,
panicking.
please?
Okay. Wait. Pause. Okay. For now, I'm gonna have Moose. Like, you just want talking stick?
That's fine.
All right. Moose, can you do it for a second until I can get downstairs, and then I'll take over. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, Muse, you
I
can
was
just
talking
mute Paulo
actually,
real
so you're
quick,
gonna have to like pipe down for a
so I
second
can like
because you're
continue the
gonna
point.
the same.
So I can continue the point that I was making. That was cut off. Thank you. Yeah, so to rehash, basically there are numerous different views on what existence could be a predicate of. The Quinian view is sort of like, or the Quinian view is sort of like, existence is a predicate of concepts. So for example, to illustrate this, we have the concept unicorn, right? And what Quine wants to say is that when we say a unicorn exists, we're just saying that there is one concept unicorn, or there is one unicorn. Or when we say that unicorns don't exist, we say that there are zero unicorns, or zero things that fulfill the concept unicorn. Um, and alternatively, what my non-gains wants to say is that existence is a predicate of objects. So they think that there are such things as non-existent objects and existent objects, and so that would be like the delineation between the two. Quinians don't think that there are non-existent objects. They think that all objects are existent.
Well, just to be clear, before I respond to whatever you just said, did you say the person who is a Quinian, for example, believes that they are going to be non-existent objects?
No, that's not what I said. That was a horrible tracking error.
I'm asking you a clarifying question because you like rambled your way through, and
Well,
so
I
no one
said
is actually
no.
listening
I
to what the
said
fuck
I
you're
said
saying.
no. In case you
Yeah,
didn't
so
hear
you're
it the
saying it's a
first time.
tracking error, but the person is actually asking if you said something. It's not a
Yeah, I
matter if they
said no,
heard what he
retard.
said,
Do
and
I need
that's
to
their
say it a fourth
interpretation.
time?
So what you're doing now, you're being retarded, and you're trying to rhetorical stuff, whereas it's not going to work because you have a bad
Well, I
articulation.
mean,
So
you
just calm
haven't
down.
clarified your view
Stop
yet.
panicking.
So I mean, I
Relax.
think
Relax. Calm down. Okay, so the answer is no, you did not say this. And so just to be clear on this, dumb fuck, what's going to be the relevant distinction between the Quinian and the Meinongian or the non-Meinongian under your position?
I already gave an example.
That example is not something which rules out a particular thing. If I say I give an example for something, that's not me explicating on the concept. You understand this, right?
The example is supposed to clarify the distinction. Like, I
Okay,
mean,
so
what do you not
maybe
understand?
maybe you have to just go
What
through
sort of
some entry level.
like what
Maybe
issue?
just
Yeah,
relax,
but
calm
what
down.
issue do you have?
Maybe you have to go through some entry level philosophical stuff because you're like this retarded. So like, I'm pretty sure you understand this, but the examples do not point out like the conditions which makes two things exclusive. Of course, it is going to be the case that the Quinian does not believe in the position that all things is going to be the types of things which exist because Quine does not believe this. What you stated originally, like the dumb fuck you actually are, you said how Quine determines existence, his view on existence is quantification is going to be the type of thing which is translatable to existence. You deny this because you're retarded, you have a short-term memory loss, and you can't track your own points. And so what you're on right now is specifically what exactly is Quine's fucking view. Because if Quine's fucking view is just simply just to say that, oh, quantification, like something being quantifiable, is that type of thing which exists, then that's a straw man of Quine's view. Well, presumably, even though you are retarded, you're not like at least this retarded to make that claim, right? You're gonna of course neglect and deny the claim that Quine is saying that just to quantify something, or rather for something to be quantifiable, it is the type of thing which exists. Which brings me to the new question, which is simply what is going to be the extra condition which is added into Quine's view, which determines existence outside of just the mere fucking fact of something being quantifiable, for example. What's going to be the extra condition?
This is irrelevant to the question I'm asking you. The question I originally asked you was, what sort of view do you take on existence? And by that, I meant, do you think existence is a predicate of objects, or do you think it's a predicate of concepts, or what are we dealing with here? And you're trying to like go down this little rabbit hole. And now the sub question we're on is, what was wrong with the example I gave, such that you don't understand the distinction between Meinongianism and Quinianism about existence. So I just want you to clarify, where the example went wrong, or what sort of you don't understand about my hashing out of these views and their differences.
You yourself agreed you have not given a sufficient condition, so the example would not sufficiently rule out these two things being non-identical, dumb fuck. That's the first point. The second point is simply you just deflected and derailed from the fucking question because you realized you committed a tier 8 fucking blunder, right? You said specifically, it is the case that under the Quinian position, it is going to be true that something which is quantified over is the type of thing which exists. That's not true, right? If that was to be true, that would basically trivialize existence, and it would basically just point out the lack of relevant distinction between quantifiers in first order logic or higher order logic and something which such as existential commitments in logic, right? These are of course different things. You can quantify over a particular set, and that set has no elements, and so given that particular thing, it results in that is true, so without an existential commitments. which is why I'm asking you the question, by the way, because you made this blunder originally, and you're trying to basically act as if you did not commit the blunder and acted as if I straw man your position. Now I'm trying to get clear on what your view is on Quine's view, and you're running away every single time I'm asking you this basic, rudimentary fucking question, which is simply, do you believe, yes or no? I want you to just say yes or no to the question, and they can clarify afterwards. Do you believe that Quine's view on existence is just the fucking fact that that exists, if it is the case that it is something you can quantify over? Is that your view on what Quine is saying? And if not, what's going to be the extra condition which differentiates that proposition from Quine's view? Could you answer the goddamn question and stop asking me derailed questions to hide your ignorance in the fucking topic, retard?
Well, I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's kind of ironic because we got here because of your derailing questions, and you just asked me one, in fact. So, I mean, to just like address the question to sort of satisfy your autistic urges. Um, the question is kind of vague. So by what we can quantify over is like sort of unclear how do you take that. Because obviously Quine thinks that, when we say there is or there exists, some object, we're ontologically committing to that object. And in the case of like an empty set, like when we quantify over that set, it's just the case that we're not quantifying over anything. So that like really trivially like solves the little issue you tried to bring up there. As for the actual main relevant points, I just want you to point out like where I went wrong with the example, because obviously I agree that examples don't hash out clear, necessary, and sufficient conditions to understand every case example. But I'm just sort of unclear on why I need to do that for you to understand the concepts or the purposes of this conversation. Like obviously it's not the case that I need to give exhaustive definitions of like every sort of semi-relevant term. I mean, we can just go off of a mutual understanding based off of ostensive this definition instead of just like being autistic and anal about everything.
That was the rhetorical.
Okay, so just to address a couple of things. So the illiterate scumbag basically agreed on the proposition that the example is not a sufficient condition which rules out one concept from the other, insofar as it does not make it the case that these two things are non-identical positions. He agrees on this, right? But then he's asking me, what is it about this example which is wrong? No one has ever made a claim, by the way, and this is the funniest part of the conversation because he's originally accusing me of mistracking and committing like very obvious tracking blunders, but then committed to do a tracking blunder on his own. No one has ever made the claim, just to be clear in this, that your example was wrong or you gave an incorrect or flawed or inaccurate example, you fucking retard. What I did in fact say, however, is that the example, right, would not be sufficient to hashing out the goddamn concept. Because, of course, you agree that even under that example, it would be the case that these two things would be compatible, but of course, they're not fucking compatible. One position entails all things existent, and that would be the rejection of my non-organism, you dumb fuck retard. The other position would be Quine's view, you making the claim that apparently you don't have to give a sufficient condition to clarify a concept is irrelevant. I'm not making a normative claim. I'm not telling you that you have to use this particular means of approaching the conversation to clarify the concept or for conceptual clarity. I'm not making this claim either. All I'm asking you for is for the sufficient condition which would actually distinguish that view from the other view being established or illustrated in this conversation. I find it also comical that you claim that the question of Aster was nebulous. Like, it was not a nebulous fucking question, it's just a fucking retard, right? Clearly, we know what quantification means, right? We're indexing quantification to some particular bound variable in the freaking domain, you dumb fuck. I'm saying, given your original claim on what Quine's view actually is, your overly simplified tunnel vision perspective on what Quine's view actually is, with respects to existence, it would be the case that all things exist because technically speaking, all things are quantifiable, you dumb fucking retard. You could create a particular domain X, whereas you index to that domain a particular thing that's being talked about in a relevant given conversation. And of course, it would be the case irrespective of whatever theory you might adopt, for example, whether it's a theory which is indispensable given the relevant facts or a dispensable theory. It would be the case given your own position that it is true that this thing would exist, but that's not Quine's position. So I was pointing out that blunder, that I should say, that's oversimplification of Quine's view, firstly, and that's, you could say, incomplete explanation of the position, which of course leads to clear reductios, clear absurd consequences. That's just the main reason as to why I was asking you, what is the extra condition that would be relevant to Quine's view, by the way, which does not trivially entail some holistic metaphysical commitment. And you kept on derailing and deviating from the question, that relevant question, by accusing me of asking irrelevant questions, even though it was not actually relevant. But the reason as to why you're classifying it to be irrelevant is because you're unable to actually fucking tackle the question intellectually. So I'm going to re-ask you the question for the third time, and let's see if the retard derailed donkey is going to derail from the conversation again, right? So alongside quantification, you dipshit piece of trash, what's going to be the other condition alongside quantification which is relevant to Quine's view on existence?
I mean, we can just take that response and dissect it, first to last order. So, I mean, the first thing you said, um, was that I didn't, give a sufficient example to, show that my non-Guianism and Quineanism are non-identical, as meta-ontological views, and that's just obviously false. See, this is obviously false because if I give one example where it is shown that they do deviate, then it's trivially the case that they're non-identical because they don't share that sort of example, or they don't share, a verdict on the examples I gave. So that's just like obviously false. That's a horrible blunder. Um, Second point, you said that my example is not sufficient to hash out the concept. And this is just what I mean when you say that it doesn't do enough to explain the concept. And I mean, it's kind of ironic because, while you were saying that, you actually did say something I said earlier as an example of like what it actually is, to say that Quinianism and Monongianism are distinct, and what you said there was Quinianism holds that all things exist, or everything exists, and my non-Guianism does not hold that. And for the third point, you said that if it's the case that people in like conversational contexts, if they quantify over like some irrelevant domain, and in that domain, you have like this bound variable x, it's the case that I think that it exists under the Quinian view. This is trivially false. What I'm not saying is that whenever people quantify over x, that means that x exists. I'm saying that the correct view on existence is such that when we have this sort of theory, right? And this theory has quantification over x, y, and z, for example. If this theory is the true or correct theory, then it's the case that x, y, and z all exist. So in other words, the quantifier is just a tool for ontological commitment, and that's sort of view on existence. And to sort of wrap this point up, because I do want to get off of this point because it's like really irrelevant, right? It's really like irrelevant because the original question I asked you was, which sort of view on existence do you take? I mean, you have yet to answer this. You're just trying to be very dishonest right now. I mean, we all expected this from you anyways. I mean, yeah, give your response. I mean, if you don't answer the question, we can just move on to the next point.
Yeah, so just a couple of things, right? So the retard just told me that, yeah, he's trying to get clear on what my view on existence is, even though that's highlighted in the first and the second premise, right? It's very clear what my view on existence actually is. Adopting like a neo-Hegelian idealist position. If you are familiar with Hegel's works, for example, you know the popular phrase where he talks about the inseparability, the ontic inseparability between being and intelligibility. And of course, I'm cashing out intelligibility to be indexed some sort of information or some sort of like semantic or conceptual content. That's number one. So you're going to be telling me that I'm being dishonest, I'm being this sort of disingenuous interlocutor by evading from giving you some sort of perspectival analysis of what existence actually is, even though that's quite literally stated in the first two premises. Maybe if you could read, perhaps you'd have seen that, you know. But kind of concerning right there. You talked about the idea of Quine's view, of course, it being indexed to a true theory, right? I know you just Googled that because it took you like 10 to 15 minutes to actually realize that it's not just quantification, which was the original assertion, which we have clipped on the recording, by the way, which can rerun afterwards. Now, just to be clear on a couple of things, right? Because you're saying this is obviously the true view on existence. So to be clear on this, of course, if you're going to be saying Quine's view insofar as his view on existence is correct, then you're going to also be saying simultaneously that it would be the case that right, true theory, right? I'm going to just ask you, is true theory going to be the type of thing which is a theory representative of the facts of the external world or some given thing like this? And if not, what is going to be something which determines the veracity of a given theory in the context of a Quinean view on existence? If that given thing is going to automatically presuppose the existence of certain things, for example, which is indispensable for a theory to be true, then there's going to be a circular objection towards Quine's view in existence, insofar as the very same factor which is being utilized to basically determine existence, for example, is going to be baking in this sort of condition where it presupposes the type of thing which exists or what determines existence, which is quite literally the very same thing which is being investigated, right? So I'm going to just ask you just blatantly just to simplify the question so that your pea-sized brain can wrap its head around the actual points, right? So just to simplify the question for you, okay? What is going to be the determining condition, right, in the context of points of view, right, which determines whether or not a theory is correct, which of course is indispensable for you to determine whether or not something exists, given how Quine explains existence in his literature. What's going to be the condition? Is it going to be something which presupposes other existent objects, and that presupposition be something which is necessary? And if so, how does one determine those sort of existent objects being existent? Right. And if that's not the case, just tell me the other condition which is relevant to the veracity of these theories. Right. I'm curious.
Yeah, so that was just a really brutal mistrack. I didn't grant Quine's view. Not once did I say that Quine's view is obviously true. What I did say was that it's obviously true that Quine's view is a certain way. So I think it's obviously true that the Quinian view is this way or is that way or makes these types of assertions, which you fail to grasp. And that's why you asked those retarded questions, which didn't get you anywhere in the debate, had no mileage, and was completely worthless. Um, I didn't bring up truth theories. I think it's clear that your brain is like sort of GPT-ified, where you think that if I bring up theory and truth in the same sentence, it means I'm bringing up truth theories. It's not the case. I didn't tie it to a truth theory. So that was also a retarded mistrack. And for the very first things you were saying, you said it's pretty obvious that you're taking a neo-Hegelian view on existence. But I'm sort of unfamiliar with this view. And, in the premises, in the first two premises, P1 and P2, you didn't really elaborate on what existence is. So you said that being is inseparable from intelligibility, but this is just like describing the sort of predicate of existence. Like I want to know, for instance, like what is ontological commitment identical to on your view, for instance. So I'm asking about, inequality is instead of a predicative is. And so that's the sort of question I want answered there. You can answer the question now.
Yeah, so hilarious stuff. So first and foremost, no one said truth theory, right? You said truth theory, right? Insofar as it is going to be the case that the quantification of some particular entities which are going to be existent is going to be indexed to a particular true theory, given the relevant facts. That's what he said. And I responded by asking how do you determine a theory being true in the context of that conversation. Never said that it's going to be the case that I'm asking you any particular position on truth theory. That's another mistrack, as the retard attempted to accuse me of mistracking. And another mistrack from the retard is him saying I adopt a neo-Hegelian view on existence. I never said I adopt a neo-Hegelian view on existence. I said I believe in neo-Hegelian idealism, which is different. Neo-Hegelian idealism is not a meta-ontological position, and presumably you're asking me about the meta framework of existence, like what I think is going to be the type of thing which determines existence, right? Neo Hegelian idealism is not talking about what determines existence, you numbskull. Neo Hegelian idealism is talking about a fact about existence, a fact about being. It's talking about the idea of being, or if you want to take that to be or to exist, whatever ontology that actually is, that's inseparable, right? And I repeat, it's inseparable from intelligibility. That's not a view on existence insofar as the way you're talking about it, insofar as you're asking me, oh, what determines existence? No, it's not a view on what determines existence. It's a view or a fact about existence, given what Hegel believes in. That's radically different. So two mistracks in the course of like 2 minutes or less after the dumb fucking retard accused me of mistracking. Another blunder again. And this is something which I never actually did not expect. I always expected you to make these blunders because you're Mercury after all. So yeah, just to clarify, I want to adopt a new Hegelian view on existence. Hegel has never made it clear in his literature what his meta ontology really is. So that was a blunder. And thirdly, I made it clear what my view on existence is. Maybe if you took like, I don't know, like 10 to 15 seconds of your fucking time to read the goddamn premises, right? You'd understand this because in the premises, the first two premises, it's me talking about or me implicating that what I believe determines existence is just going to be semantic content or conceptual content. Quite frankly, right? So that should give you an informative answer with respect to what I believe determines existence. Now, if you're going to be asking me what I mean by existence or some other different questions like my particle meta ontology, insofar as the necessary and sufficient conditions for determining existence, the sufficient condition, of course, would just be the intelligibility aspect as highlighted and illustrated in the first couple of premises, which you have yet to actually read or comprehend because of who you actually are. And if you're going to be asking me again the semantic question, that's irrelevant. So I've given you the position that would be relevant in progressing the conversation, and I've also explained as to why your position, what my position actually is a huge mistrack. So I want you to lock the fuck in, okay? Just the points I'm making. Stop committing strawmans, stop committing mistracks, and tell me again, how is it the case that I've deviated from your question despite me repeatedly answering it on numerous different occasions?
Great. So I guess we finally have an answer to the question. Well, it's not even a real answer; it's sort of half answer. So when you say that with conceptual or semantical conditions necessarily exist, the same question still applies. Are you talking about concepts, as in sort of predicates, or things as in objects? So, like for instance, this is going to go back to the exact same thing I said, which is why you needed to pay attention when you didn't. So you could say that those predicates or those concepts with conceptual or semantical conditions. You could say that those things are necessarily granted the predicate of existence to a certain degree. So, for instance, like one things, two things, three things, and that concept exists. Or you could say that objects or terms with conceptual or semantical conditions necessarily exist. The same question is still going to apply.
Yeah, so this guy tells me to pay attention, dude. So you're asking me if by concept I'm talking about objects or predicates. It's like so fucking stupid. Of course I'm talking about objects, right? And they are in fact certain predicates which can be conceptual, by the way. But none of these is sufficiently cashing out the fucking concept of what the concept actually is. Right? I'm just taking the concept to be some mental content. Right? It's very obvious I've never read anything on theories of concepts, by the way, like either even knowing like what the Platonic view is in concepts or an Aristotelian view or any of this fucking stuff, right? But of course, like generally speaking, in like for example, cognitive science or even things such as like Philip Mind or things such as theory of concept. So when someone is talking about a concept, they're talking about some freaking mental representation, right? They're talking about something mental, right? So it's not just talking about a object, though that's what I'm talking about here. It's talking about a mental object. All I mean by a concept here is just a mental fucking object, right? Something which is representational. It could be a visual or a non-visual representation, right? It could be something which is represented given, or is something which is representational insofar as it is informative, but it's not something which I can visually identify, for example. It's something which is just representational given my a priori conceptual schemes or categorical schemes, or sorry, conceptual schemes or transcendental categories, if you believe in some Kantian position, right? That's what I mean there, right, when I'm talking about a concept. Just trivially going to be identical to some given mental object. Don't see how using objects or predicates is even something. Those two options are just terrible options to sufficiently capture the concept of what the concept actually is. I just want to make that clear. So hopefully this part of the debate is something which is more, I could say, understandable from your perspective, from your tunnel vision perspective, and we can actually make some relevant progress moving forward. So concept, mental object. Do you understand this? Yes or no?
That was an incredibly retarded response. So I wasn't asking you for a clarification on what it means for something to be a concept, nor was I proposing, sort of theories of what concepts are. I was just saying, a concept can either be an object or a predicate. That's not what I was saying. I was asking you if the things with the conceptual or semantic conditions on your view, which has the predicate of existence, are these predicates making existence a second order predicate, or are they objects making existence a first order predicate? That's essentially the question there. I can't believe I've had to ask this question and rephrase it numerous different times, and you're still not getting it. Like, it's incredibly annoying and frustrating. So just answer the question. Is it first order or is it second order? And I just want you to focus on those terms because clearly you need like some sort of verbal cue to engage with the argument. It's not even an argument, it's like a questionnaire. This is like the precondition to you actually debating me, and you're failing horribly.
So it's a precondition to you actually debating me, and you're failing horribly.
Anyway, so that was just corny, dude. So, just to address what you're saying, first and foremost, it's a second order property, right? And by existence, just to be clear on this, what I'm saying is a second order property, and specifically talking about something being a mind dependent or a mind independent object, right? So when I'm talking about intelligibility, and the first two premises is going to be referencing the first order properties. Things that you're not specifically talking about, like whether or not something is mind dependent or mind independent. I want to make the clarity just pretty obvious for not just you, but for everyone else listening. And so another thing I want to just address firstly before you give your response, right, which I assume is going to be real retarded given the consistent trend of you just making retarded blunders. So with respects to what you're talking about the objects or predicates dichotomy, right, or disjunction, sorry, you're asking me if I believe that concepts in this context is going to be either objects or predicates, like which one of the options I'm picking, as if they are first and foremost exclusive options. That's the first thing. And secondly, as if it is the case that this has any fucking relevancy to the point that I'm making here, right? The point I'm making here is not just to talk about whether or not it is the case that they are just objects or they are just predicates, because even if we interpret them to be predicates, that's compatible with believing that these things are either first order or not just first order, but rather second order properties, right? So I'm not even understanding the relevance if you talk about predicates that given context, because you can have predicates of a level where it's either at the first order level or at the second order level. So it doesn't even clarify sufficiently what's being talked about there. So the main point of me criticizing your question is just to say that whichever response I give or whichever option I pick from the question, that would still not be sufficient to again capture what I mean by concept, or what any actual normal person would mean by context, or a concept, I should say, in philosophical conversations. That was the main reason behind me criticizing your question. And again, you did not even understand this the first couple of times, so I had to just clarify that part for you to understand that this is what I'm actually trying to communicate there when I was criticizing your question. Okay, so just give the response since I've just clarified what I mean by existence, or what specifically I'm talking about insofar as existence is concerned. And then we can just get on with the argument and see what objections you actually have to the goddamn freaking premises.
Who's moderating this? Is it Sakazuki or the other guy? Oh, it's Moose. Okay, Moose, is it okay if we move back to normal discussion? Because this is kind of boring. Like, no, yeah, no talking stick for now. All right, so what did you say in the first sort of bit about mind independency?
So you forgot that part too. So yeah, so what I was talking about there in the mind dependency aspect is just to say that anything about like whether something is mind independent or mind dependent those are second-order properties. I just take those to be meta-epistemic statuses of objects, but they're not the types of things which are like first-order in nature. No, that's what I was talking about.
Wait, okay, so you think that, anything which is mind dependent or mind independent, you think like those things exist, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's like your criterion for existence.
The criterion for existence is not being mind independent or mind dependent. It's just entailed from my criterion of existence that if something was to exist, it's either mind dependent or mind independent. So that's
Okay, but
another
I'm
blunder,
I'm just asking you like what determines whether something is existing.
which I told you on like 5 different occasions.
Well, no, like every time like we go in this back and forth, you seem to think I'm asking for your theory of
I
concepts, which I'm not doing. Like that's like
never said you're
persistently
asking my
what I'm not
question.
doing.
I said you're asking me for my view on concepts, not my theory of concepts.
Yeah,
I
I'm
referenced
not
the
asking
theory
you
of
for that.
concepts to point out that you're confused on what the concept actually
Well,
is.
I wasn't even talking about like what concepts are. Like I'm not saying that
Yes, you were.
concepts are either objects or predicates. I mean, if you
You're
think that,
asking me if
then
I
you're
believe
just
the
horribly
concept is an
mistracking.
object or a predicate. You just verbatim.
No,
You
no,
asked me, do you believe that
that's not
you're
what I
asking me,
said.
do you believe that the concept is an object or a predicate? Do you believe it is going to be first order or second order?
No,
And then you clarify even afterwards.
that's not what I said.
That's exactly what you said, actually. So I don't
That's
know where
not
you're
what I
going.
said.
You can
I mean, look,
deny
you
what
can either
happened.
take it
That's
from
fine.
me, you can either take what I said from me, or you can like keep believing your
Were you
retarded
ever talking about
conclusion.
concepts in this conversation? Did you ever bring up any question about concepts?
I did not bring up any question about concepts or concepts are like the
Really?
subject matter of the question.
Really? You never brought up, never asked me
I
any
asked you a question
question on what the
where
concept is.
I asked you a question where the word concept
Oh.
was involved. Yeah, but like your retarded dog brain thinks that means that
Are you retarded?
the
So that
sentence is
means you
about
were asking me a
fucking
question about my
concepts.
view on concepts because you're
Well,
asking
no,
me about
that's
my
not
opinion
entailed.
on
That's like
concepts.
maybe that's true under the
What do you
retarded
think of you is?
Pavlovian system of entailment.
What do you think
That's
of
not
you
true
is?
under. What do
Stop
I think of
stumbling. What do
you
you think
is?
of you actually is?
Why is this relevant? This is like unironically like infinity
Why
level
is it? No, you
tactics.
made a stupid
This is
fucking
like
point. You
trolling
just agreed. You
infinity
asked
level
me a
tactics
question on
here,
what the
and
concept
you're
is,
losing
and then you're
horribly.
asking me,
You're
or then you're
losing
making the
horribly on
simultaneous
basic
claim.
preliminary
You're making the
questions.
simultaneous claim that you never asked me for my view on concepts. Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah,
You
I
can't be
never
this
asked that.
retarded.
Oh
You
my
just said a
god,
while ago you asked me a question on my analysis of concepts.
I did not say that. I did
You
not ask
just
you that
said that a
question.
couple seconds ago
I
again.
did not. I did. Oh my god.
I did not, I
I
did
did a question which
Were
used
any
the
of the
word
questions you've
concept.
asked me about concepts? Yes or no?
What do you say?
Were any of the questions you asked me in this conversation about concepts? Yes or no?
No, they used the word concepts.
So none of the questions you've asked me, by the way, in this conversation was about concepts, to be
Well, it
clear.
depends on what you mean by about. So, like, things can be about something in different
You don't know
ways.
what it means for something to be about
Well, I
something. You
mean,
think it depends.
it's sort
You
of
don't
a
have a
vague,
clear
it's sort
analysis
of
on
a
what the fuck
vague
I mean
term.
by about something.
It's sort of a
Now
vague
you're trying
term
to,
in the
now you're trying to
mouth.
project and just impose your autism onto the conversation to dodge the fucking question.
It's sort of a vague
It's
term
sort
in
of
the
really
mouth,
ironic how you just
in the
dodge it
mouth,
after accusing me of dodging.
in the mouth of an immigrant
In
like
the
you.
ma- in the ma- in the ma- in the ma- yeah.
Yes.
Anyways,
So,
so were
like,
any of
what I
your
mean
questions
by,
about
something
concepts?
being
Yes or
about
no?
something is like concepts are not like the subject matter. I was not
Is
asking,
the
are
retard ever going
concepts
to
like
answer
this
a simple
or are
question in this
concepts like that?
conversation?
What I was asking is existence, a property or a predicate of concepts or of objects? And to clarify, what I meant by concepts was predicates. So, like, is a predicate of predicate, which makes it second order,
You never
or is it
said
a predicate of
concepts are
objects,
predicates.
which
It
makes
said
it first
objects are
order?
predicates, retard. What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
The two options you've given did not include concepts. The concepts was what the question was about. The
That
two
was what I
options
was
was
saying
about objects
earlier.
or predicates. Huh?
I was saying is it a predicate of concepts or objects earlier? And I clarified,
Okay, so you forgot the question
is
you've
it a
asked me
predicate
about
of
concepts. That's fine.
predicates or
So
objects?
what are the new set of questions you have for me before I forget these other questions again?
I didn't have a new set of questions. The question
I'm
is the
asking
same.
you
The
what
question's been the
are. I'm
same.
asking you what
I mean,
are. I'm not
it's
sitting
just
with
a
you. I'm
sort of
asking you what
testament to your
are.
horrible track skills. I think the
I'm
evolved or
expecting
changed.
we're gonna have a new
Like you
set of
genuinely think
questions.
I've asked different questions when it's been the same question the entire time.
Wait, so
Like
you
you have
don't
zero
have a
object
new set of
permanence. You think it's a
questions?
new
You
question
don't
every
have
time
a
I
new
ask
set
it.
of questions moving forward?
Moving forward to what? We're not even past this
Moving
point.
forward in this debate, you dumbass retard, you're
We're not
still
moving
arguing against
forward.
my
We're going
argument.
backwards. We're going backwards
Yeah,
right now.
because you are thinking
No,
backwards.
no,
You're
no,
just a
no, no,
backward
no,
fucking
no.
thinker.
It's
No,
because
no, 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 no,
you
no.
are
Yeah,
taking
shut the
this
fuck
back.
up. So,
You are taking this back.
dude, it's not fun. You're not funny, dude. You're not that guy. Just calm down, chat. So,
Look,
just to be
just calm
clear,
down.
do you have any new set of questions? Yes or no?
No, I'm just waiting for this one to be
So you
answered.
concede to the argument? So you concede to the argument?
Well, that's not the entailment.
So are there any of the premises are you're skeptical towards? Yes or no?
Yeah, probably. I haven't read them yet. We're just getting past premise one here. Like we haven't gotten
So
past
currently you don't
premise
have an
one.
answer to the questions
We
about
haven't gotten
those
past
first two
word two of
premises.
premise one.
How many premises of the argument have you read, you slow brain loser?
I've read 3 premises if you can count conclusions
Three
already.
premises. Okay.
Premise
Wait,
one,
wait, three
premise two, and
premises?
conclusion.
Wait, 3 premises? Hello? You said 3
Hello?
premises?
Are you gonna answer the question I asked you?
Why is the
Because
retard
I can
dodging? You
see
said 3 premises,
I
correct?
can see right now
You
you're
said
like
3 premises,
sort of
correct?
inching away from the
You
point
said
here.
3 premises,
You're
correct?
inching away from the point
You
here.
said 3 premises, correct?
Oh, okay, so just to reiterate, the question was, what's your
He's using
criterion
the
of
made in China
existence?
laughs to cope with the fucking demolishing or his computer right now. This is crazy. Answer the
What's your
question. Answer the
criterion of
question.
existence?
Did you
What's
say did you
your criterion
say
of
three
existence, Paulo?
premises? Did
Come
you
on.
say 3 premises?
What's your criterion of existence?
This is a stage 4 of being a dumb fuck retard like Mercury. It's when you ask someone a question to dodge their question
I mean,
because you don't want to
we can
actually
hold a
answer any
poll
fucking
right
question,
now.
right? So this is stage
Which
4. This
question
is
is
stage
relevant to the
4. This is
conversation?
stage 4.
Is it the
This
question
is
about
stage 4 of being
criterion
a
for existence, or is
discord
the question
dumb
about whether I
fuck,
said
right?
3
You ask a
premises?
question
Which
to
question is
deviate
more
from the
relevant, chat?
question that
I
you're
want
being
you to
asked
answer this
originally because
first.
you
Which
won't answer
question
the
is more
goddamn fucking
relevant to the
question.
fucking conversation?
Stage 4, by the way, of being a dumb fuck like Mercury. So are you gonna answer my question? Yes or no?
Look, I mean, you're an expert
Did
on
you
this
say
already.
did you say read 3 premises? Yes or no?
What's your criterion for existence?
So you did say you read 3 premises because everyone heard this. Now tell me which of the premises do you reject or are you skeptical towards?
Well, that depends. We'd have to go through them.
So you have not went through them in your pea-sized brain yet, dumb fuck?
I'm sort of
Are these fucking
hyperfixated
slow?
on your retardation because you're
I think
like
I'm fixated on your retardation. Says
okay,
the guy
so
who
like
was literally
what
exposing
Apollo
himself
tries
from
to
having
do in these
retardation right
debates
now.
is like
Isn't
he
that
likes
so
to
ironic?
say
Isn't
a
that
lot of
so ironic?
retarded stuff, and then you have to like scramble to point out each retarded thing he says, and then eventually you're gonna get tired,
What are you
and
even
one of the
saying right
retarded
now?
things
Are you
he's
okay?
saying is gonna
Are you
suck
on
for you,
drugs?
and then he's going to hyperfixate on some irrelevant sort of topic like
Uh,
did
uh,
I say
uh,
3 premises,
yeah, dude.
and he's going to evade the normal question, which is what's your criterion for existence. That's the
You
normal
try to
question.
do the meta rhetoric stuff and then you just stumble with every single fucking
This is
sentence.
not
So
meta
now that you're
rhetoric.
done
This is
talking to
substance.
yourself,
This is
now
not
that you're
meta
done
or
talking to
rhetoric. This
yourself,
is substance. You're
now
wrong
that
on
you're
both
done
counts.
talking to
You
yourself,
fucking
okay,
retard.
I'm gonna
You
ask you
decided
again.
that,
I'm gonna
retard.
ask you
You
again.
decided that.
Which of the
Look.
premises
I'm
do you
not done.
accept
I'm
or
not done.
reject?
I'm not done.
Pipe down and just answer my question.
Look. So the
You
question is,
spineless fucking coward.
What's your criterion of existence?
By criterion, are just talking about the thing which sufficiently determines existence, retard.
Yeah. What are the conditions for existence? What are necessary and sufficient conditions? If you don't have
Read the
necessary and
first
sufficient
premise and
conditions,
the
you can
second
give
premise, and
examples.
you'll actually understand the criterion. By the way,
What's the criterion?
I stated in the
Is it
second premise,
having
actually, in the
okay?
first
So
premise.
if it's just the same thing
Did you
about
not
having
read the premises?
conceptual is if it's just the same thing about having conceptual or semantical conditions, then I asked you a question about that, which is it a predicate of a predicate or is it a predicate of the object? And you haven't answered that.
Is it the predicate or predicate of the object?
No, that's not what I said. Is it a predicate of a
All
predicate or is it a
predicates are
predicate
about
of the
objects.
object?
That's what he said actually verbatim.
That's not
Like
what I
you
said.
just forgot what
You're
he just said
mishearing me.
seconds ago. Are
You're
you
mishearing
okay?
me.
I'm not
You're
mishearing
mishearing
anything.
me.
You're just mistracking your own fucking points.
So what's the answer?
The question you've asked originally was just fucking unintelligible, right? You said, "Are they predicates or predicates of objects?" All predicates are
Let
about
me
objects.
ask it again. So is it a predicate of a predicate or is a predicate of an object? Which one?
Predicate of a predicate, I believe.
Of belief.
No, it's a predicate of a predicate. I would believe.
You would believe. Okay, so like which predicate is it a predicate of?
Of a specific epistemic property insofar as the relation.
The epistemic property
I'm answering the
insofar as
question.
the
Just calm down.
relation.
Don't panic. Don't panic. Just relax. Okay. So I
Okay,
don't know.
so
You're doing
you
the
think
maiden
it's a
China laughs
predicate
again.
of an
The fake
epistemic
laughs again.
relation, right? You think
You
it's
don't think it is the
predicate
case
of
that
an
epistemic
epistemic.
relations can count as predicates?
No, it's not. That's not what
So
I
what
said.
is funny about my response? What is funny about my response? Tell me.
Bro,
Tell
why are
the
you so
audience.
triggered? I was laughing. Calm down.
You're laughing at what? You're
Bro, I'm
laughing
sorry.
that you're
I
getting
didn't
blown
mean to
out?
hurt your fucking ego. There's okay. Your
No
response is
one's ego is
perfectly okay,
hurt. We're just
bro.
confused as to why you're
Look,
autistically
look,
laughing for no goddamn
you're
reason.
you're confused.
Even though
I
the
mean, I
person was
think
trying to
it's pretty
respond to your
obvious. I
question.
mean, look,
You
the
asked a
people in the
question
chat
and
are
the person is
laughing, but
responding to your
the people
question
in the chat are
and
laughing,
you
but
just
it seems like
autistically
a pretty
laugh out of
narrow topic
nowhere
right
for
now.
no reason?
Look, so you
Really?
think it's a predicate
So
of
what's
epistemic?
the
You think
problem
it's
with
a
my
you
response
think
to
you
your
think it's a
question?
predicate? You think it's a predicate of epistemic relations? And like, what exactly are
I
these
take the epistemic
relations?
relations to just be a predicate insofar as it talks about whether or not an object, or the relation an object has with the world itself.
So epistemic, like, what epistemic relation is it? Is it just like how the object is related to the world, or like, because that's what you
No
just said.
shit. Yeah, of course, yes. And the world could just be either, it's going to be dependent on the reference of parts of the proposition. Depends what the proposition is fucking about. So if the world is about, like, for example, some empirical feature which is taken external, then we can just basically index the predicate to be something which is reflective of whether or not such object is going to be dependent on said thing existent or independent of such said thing existent, for example.
So did you say
Is this clear
word?
enough for it to
Did you say
understand, retard?
word or world? Did you say word or world?
I'm saying the word which is referenced by the proposition.
Okay, I thought you were saying world because you have a bit of an accent there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No one ever thought that, by the
So
way. It was pretty
so you,
pronounced
so you
clearly.
think it's a predicate of an epistemic relation, and the epistemic relation is the relation the word has to facts.
You're still confused about what I'm saying? Like, genuinely. Is
Can
this
I
your
answer
way
the
of just not
question?
attacking the freaking argument?
And the epistemic relation is the relation the word
Okay, well,
has to
I'm
what?
gonna give you a job. I'm gonna give you a clear task for you to do. Given the argument for where God exists, right? At least stage one of the argument, right? What I'm gonna ask you right now is, from now on, I'm gonna ask you, do you have any objection to the argument, or do you want me to prove any of the premises? And if so, which of the premises do you want me to prove?
I just want you to answer the question I'm asking you right now. We can get to that later.
Well, the dear dumb fuck questions you're asking me right now, which doesn't even progress the conversation, is not going to really do any good job for you, specifically optically, right? So I'm
Well, I mean,
asking you right
are
now,
you gonna
you're gonna have
are
the
you
you're
gonna
gonna have
answer
the
the
burden of
question?
rejoinder. You're gonna have the burden of rejoinder
Are you gonna
to either
answer the
ask. You're gonna
question?
keep on interrupting because you're scared. Oh shit, he's panicking.
Well, I'm interrupting because you
Yikes.
aren't
Oh
answering the question.
yikes. Oh yikes. In this case, it is because your interruption is not coming in the form of you objecting the premises in any way whatsoever. So I'm gonna ask you again.
Like,
Right? Is it the
what
case? Is
relation?
it the case? Do you have any
What is
objection to
the
the
word related
premises?
to?
If so, what's the objection?
What is the word related to?
Waiting for the response to the goddamn question.
What's the relation and what is the word related to?
Waiting for the response. Do you have any objection or not? Like, tell us what the
I mean,
fucking
I of
objection
course I
is.
have objections. I'm just gonna give it
Okay,
after
so
I
give us
clearly
the
understand.
objections. God damn it, dude. Stop
I'm just gonna
wasting your
give it.
fucking time.
I'm just gonna give it after I understand clearly what you're saying.
Or maybe we can
So,
just give it before.
so like what
Let
is
me
the
just,
relation?
you're claiming you have
What's the
objection. Give the
relation?
objection right now.
What's the relation the word has, and what is it related to? I'm just like
You
waiting.
said it yourself literally seconds ago when you're talking about like world and when you're talking about the epistemic relations. So that's another
Okay,
blunder. So
but
again,
okay,
you
I
answered
thought
your own
you.
question
I asked you if
unironically.
you're
You
saying
answered
word
you
or
answered you answered your own
I asked
question
you if you're saying
unironically
word or world.
literally seconds
You said
ago,
you're
but you're
saying
so
word.
retarded to even figure that part out too.
Okay,
So what's your
so you were
objection to
saying
the
both
argument?
word and world.
What's your objection to the argument?
So you were saying both word and
What's your
world,
objection
or
to the argument?
just
What's your objection
okay.
to the argument?
I think we can go back to talking stick now.
What's your objection to the argument?
You there, miss?
He has no objection, by the way, guys, just to be clear.
Yeah, so we can just get the retard on the mute button, and we can continue.
So who's gonna go first? You want to go first?
I'm just waiting for stick to be enforced. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice it was enforced. Okay, so the epistemic relation is what the word has to the world. And I just want to ask you, is this like a truth-making relation? Is it like a correspondence relation? Like, what sort of relation is it?
Yeah, so just to be clear on a couple of things, right? So I've literally clarified what type of relation it was, and the retard himself stated the relation, and now he's re-asking me what the relation is because he forgot the fucking relation. He himself stated the relation. The relation being that it's going to be epistemic relation, right? There's going to be epistemic relation, right? And that would answer the
Well, I
fucking question.
understand that
First
it
and
is an
foremost, right?
epistemic.
Bro,
I'm just
shut the
asking
fuck
what
up, you
exactly the
goddamn
relation
ape. Shut
is,
the
because
fuck.
that
I'm gonna
doesn't
make you
tell
mute
me.
myself, right? Yeah, shut the fuck up. You fucking disgusting, hairy, low IQ fucking ape who can't even understand the fucking basic points, right? The relation in the context of this conversation, as you have stated, and as I have stated, of course, is epistemic relations. It's talking about whether or not something is going to be dependent on just our mere epistemic faculties with respect to how we determine whether or not something is existent or not, right? And if something is not dependent on such faculties, it is not mind dependent, and if it is, then it is mind dependent. All right, that's basically what I was talking about there. So you actually answered your own goddamn question, but you're not paying attention because you're fucking stupid. That's number one. Number two is I'm asking you right now, right, what's going to be, right, the objection to the premises? If any of your responses, or sorry, if none of your responses coming forward or moving forward in your next upcoming response is going to be an objection, whether in the form of skepticism or in the form of a direct counter argument, I'm going to take that as a direct concession for you not fulfilling your burden of rejoinder and end the conversation. I'm not going to spend 1+ hour of educating the fucking special ed fucking loser dork online and trying to teach him basic English fucking language and clarify every single fucking word. What I'm going to do, however, is going to try to get the fucking retard back on track with the conversation by actually asking him for a skeptical objection or a counter argument, right? Or if not, we can just end things off right here and take it as you basically fail to address. And I'll just take it to be the case that you're just failing to address any of the goddamn premises. I'm not sure which monkey muted me while I was still talking, but if that's gonna happen, then I'm not gonna agree on talking instead because the moderator is just as incompetent as this retard I'm debating right now. But yeah, that's what I was gonna finish off my sentence by saying.
Yeah,
Now I can
sure,
mute.
sure. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but earlier you said that, you know, the word has an epistemic relation to the world, and this epistemic relation is cashed out in terms of sort of epistemic faculties we have, and if it is dependent on these things, then it's a mind dependent object, and if it isn't dependent on these things, then it's a mind independent object. Is that right?
Waiting for the objection, by the way, Lotier.
I mean, this is sort of building up to an objection.
I don't see where your objection hinges on me answering your fucking retarded question. Just give the objection.
So, are you gonna refuse to answer the question?
So how many more minutes until the retard actually give an objection to the fucking argument?
I'm just waiting for you to answer.
I've clarified in my previous response that everything that I'm going to be answering from now on is just going to be objections to my fucking argument, and that's it.
Right. I
So if
mean,
it's not an objection, not
so
answer the
you're
fucking
just like
question.
throwing. So you're just throwing the debate. That's fine.
So you're just running away from giving
So
an
you're
actual
just you're
objection. You have no
literally
fucking point.
refusing to answer questions. You
Yeah,
are
I'm
the one
refusing
running
to answer
away.
the real questions which don't
You're the
even
one with your
object to
tail
the fucking
tucked,
arguments. I
buddy.
agree.
You have your
Yes.
tail tucked
Yes. You're getting there.
beneath beneath
Congratulations.
beneath your
Wow.
butt cheeks. Your tail
Fantastic,
tucked
dude. You're able
between
to
your butt cheeks.
understand when I'm going to respond to a fucking
Between
question.
your
Yes.
Jamaican butt
So what's the
cheeks.
objection? So what's the objection you
What's
claimed you
the
have,
answer?
retard?
What's the answer to
What's
the
the
question?
objection you claimed you have,
The
retard?
objection is predicated off of the clarification.
So to be clear, currently you don't have an objection, right?
I have a pending objection.
A pendant objection. Okay,
Yep,
then
that's
let's just
contingent
take
on
it
whether or
out of
not
the
you
state of
respond.
pendant to non-pendant by you giving the fucking
Well,
objection
that
right
that
now.
can only happen if you help me out by clarifying.
That can only happen if I clarify for you what the fucking concepts mean.
That's not what I said.
You just said that can only happen if I can respond to your question, correct? Presumably, your questions are about clarification, right?
You can
He's
answer
done
the
locked again.
question.
His brain is fucking buffering. Give him some
Yeah,
time, guys. Holy
yeah,
shit.
that's why I paused awkwardly. It's because
Yeah, your
I
brain is
don't know how to
buffering, dude.
respond. That's
Holy
why I
fucking
fucking
shit,
paused.
dude.
You're so
That's why.
fucking inept.
Yeah, your
Look,
brain is buffering.
I'm sure you've had
Yes,
this
so
one
what's the
before.
response, dude?
I'm sure you've heard this one before, but
Waiting
you're
for the
genuinely
actual
like
objection.
socially inept.
It's been like over like 30
So
minutes, I suppose,
what's
and
the
still
answer to the
no
question?
objection from
What's
Mercury.
the answer to the
Interesting.
question? I mean, you
Interesting
still have
stuff,
no
dude.
clarification from Paula.
So I've never given any clarification in this conversation, right? Brain is buffering again. Holy fucking shit, dude. Oh my god, man. You're just not
Yep, that's
intellectually
fine.
qualified for this conversation. You're just punching way above your IQ weight class at this point. Like, what are you even doing right now?
I mean, that's fine, but do you have an answer to the
I mean,
question?
that's fine. That's your best response.
Look, that's fine, but do you have an answer
Seriously,
to
that
the
was your best
question?
response. That's fine. That's fine. Seriously.
Look, I mean, this is
So
debating is
what's your
supposed to be
objection?
like a sort of
What's your
turn-based.
objection?
It's supposed to be
I'm
like a
gonna give
sort of
you 3 minutes.
turn-based
I'm gonna start the
thing,
timer.
and you're just
I'm
like
gonna start the.
refusing. Actually, I mean, if you're just not gonna engage, then you can just like fuck off and leave VC. Stop wasting our time.
Right now. Just give me a second.
Look, we've been giving you many seconds, brother. We've been giving you a lot of seconds.
Okay, retard. So let's get it.
I love how Magi is like dictating both of us. It's like
Okay, so the timer just
I
started.
look
By the
at
way,
chat,
you got like
Magi's dictating
2
me.
minutes and
Look at chat
55
again, Magi's
seconds to give an
dictating
objection to
him.
the argument.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, look, I don't understand why Apollo's being so.
There are 2 minutes and 38 seconds. By the way,
I'm like the nicest person to
you
Apollo
sound
in
so
this
confused. What's
server.
going on, retard? Are you
Like
okay?
everybody else who's debated Apollo has like brought up how he's like a rapist, or like an e-rapist. Brought up how he's like a pedophile.
And now
How he
he's
like
ranting
fucks
about
little
rape. You're
teenagers.
ranting about rape.
You know how he's ugly as
Everyone was
fuck.
debating me. Everyone,
How he lost to
everyone,
Westbound in a face for
everyone,
face. I mean,
everyone,
those sorts of things.
everyone. What are you talking
But I
about?
mean, I'm really nice to
You're having a
Apollo, and I have
schizophrenic
sympathy for
meltdown
him
again. He
because
won't
he's
even attack the fucking
disabled and
argument.
autistic.
He won't even attack the fucking
Just to
argument. What the
clarify, we're
retard
just
is
gonna
doing
get a
right
mute
now
on
is
the
hoping.
retard. We're gonna get a mute on the retard. Thank you for that
What
kind
the
wise
retard is
sentence
doing right now
that
is
you're doing.
coping with no
And
objection by
I'd like it
ranting
if I
about.
could just get continuous protection. Thank you. So I
There's
mean,
no talking.
Apollo is many things. Number one, he's a retard. Number two, he's a
So what's going to happen is either there's going to be talking stick or no talking stick. Which one is it? You're not going to waste everyone's fucking time and rant and do like this back
Oh,
and
look, it's
forth, and then
funny
we're
how
going to
you're
blow the fuck
stealing
out
my
to the
jabs.
conversation.
It's funny
You
how
demand a
you're
talking
stealing
stick
my jabs.
afterwards.
Look, I mean, Apollo, all you can
Is it
do
going to be a
is
talking
talk to
stick or no?
minors on
Which
this
one is it?
app. And you either get your ass beat by
Is it a
minors or you
talking
get
stick or no
rejected by
talking stick?
minors. And it seems like
No
you got
talking stick?
rejected
Okay,
by
gotcha.
minors
Cool.
earlier, and
So,
now you're
anyways,
getting your
now
ass beat by a minor. And so that's really bad. I mean, you have a
the
really bad
retard is
track
running away
record
from the fucking
with the
points right now.
underage. And it's kind of pathetic. I mean,
What are
look,
you
it's nice
talking
to
about? Will you
people in
give an
chat,
actual freaking
sending,
argument? Yes or no? Will you give an
the usual
argument?
screenshots of just like get the
Will
usual
you give an
location
argument?
on. So, for instance, like Quark, the horse messages,
So will the
the
retard give
scat
an argument?
messages,
Will the retard give an argument? Will
the
the
peace
retard
side
ever give an
messages,
objection to the fucking argument? Or will he just
the
keep on ranting like a fucking
femboy
dumb fuck,
messages. I mean,
schizophrenic
there's like a litany
dumbass
of
and not
things
give an actual
that we
argument?
have on.
What's your objection to the argument?
Look,
Of giving you the fucking argument,
okay,
which is
okay,
logically valid
okay,
as
okay,
to why
okay,
God
okay, okay,
exists.
okay,
So I'm gonna ask you again. I'm gonna
okay,
ask you
okay,
again
okay, okay.
and
I
again
understand
and
this.
again and
I
again.
understand. I understand.
What's
I
your
understand.
objection to the fucking argument? We don't
Okay,
care about you
okay,
ranting to
okay,
yourself and
okay,
talking to yourself
okay.
about how you believe that other retards were calling me rapist. What we care about right now, you dumb illiterate scumbag,
Look,
is for it to give an
look,
objection and talk about God's existence. Stop trying to
look,
deer in the fucking conversation. Don't be a
look,
deer in a fucking donkey. So again,
look. I mean,
what's your
so
objection? What's your
Look,
objection?
if you need to be reminded, the reason why
7 seconds, by the way, left.
the reason
5
why we're
seconds.
engaging this is because Apollo refused to answer the
What's your
question,
objection?
and
What's your objection?
I just
Oh,
okay.
by the way,
I have an objection.
3 minutes just passed on the timer, and
Wait.
you've
I have an
yet to
objection.
give it.
I have an
We're gonna
objection.
do another 3 minutes
I have an
timer for the dumb
objection.
fuck retard.
Objection.
What's your objection
I
to
have
the
an
fucking
objection.
argument?
Okay.
What's
Okay.
your objection to the
Is it
goddamn
okay if the
argument?
objection comes in the form of a
What's your
question?
objection to the goddamn argument?
Is it okay if it comes in the
Is
form
it,
of a
is, it, is,
question?
it, is, it, is it okay with you just freaking giving an objection
Is it
right now,
okay if it
retard?
comes in the form of a
Is
question?
it okay? Shut the fuck
Is
up.
it?
Give an objection.
I just need to be sure.
Stop stumbling,
Because
you
look,
fucking idiot. What's your
I
objection
actually
to the
saw you
argument? He has
step.
no objection. This autist, it just came into the conversation to try to grandstand, and I was getting blown the fuck out in the grandstand rhetorical troll tactic, and then now he won't give an objection. Over
No,
3 minutes
you should
passed, by the
get into
way, and you've
operator.
yet to give an objection. You have yet to give an objection. So I'm gonna keep on
The
waiting
objection
for the
is
actual objection to the freaking argument. What's your objection?
why did
What's
you
your
lose?
objection?
Why did you lose to
What's
Westbound in a
your
face for face? Like, do you think it's because of your interpupillary distance? Do you think it's because of your maxilla? Is it because of your wide nose? Is it because you look like an autistic retard? Is it because you have low appeal due to being a pedophile? Is it because you're retarded? Is it because you
I don't
wouldn't
know. I'm getting
answer the
muted. There's no
question?
talking stick right now, right? Is there any word you want to clarify, retard?
Well, you were already getting to that.
Which
Like,
word in the argument you want to
it's funny
clarify?
how like now you're pivoting
Which
back to
word in the
clarification.
argument you're seeking
You
clarification
were
on?
refusing to clarify.
Shut
Look,
the fuck
is it
up,
okay
dude.
if we could
Anyways,
is it
what's
okay if
your
somebody could
objection to the
mute?
argument?
Is it okay if somebody could
You
mute?
said you understood all the
I
words of
mean,
the
Hey,
premises.
it seems as though we
Just
need a
another clarification.
moderator.
yeah,
Hi,
we need a
guys.
moderator. Like, we need
All
somebody
right,
to mute the dog,
great.
please.
All right,
Lovely
great.
Cycles, okay.
Yeah,
I'll
please,
go
All right,
first. I called first.
please, and thank you. I'll go first. Me.
all
I
right. So
already
we're gonna
called
do.
first. You're
Yeah,
gonna have
thank
to
We're
you.
just
gonna
go
do.
after
All right,
retard.
look, we're gonna do a
Thank you,
coin
bro.
flip. All right, Mercury, call it, bro.
Heads.
All righty, it is going to be tails. All right,
Okay, so
Apollo,
I'll
you're
just go
going
first.
first. Go ahead, kid.
Yep. So just pipe down there. Just go back on the fucking leash, you dumb fucking monkey. Now, just to be clear on this, he claimed that his questions, by the way, was not aimed towards semantic clarity, right? So that means, with respect to what the premises actually are, he understands what the fucking premises are. He understands what the premises he has read so far is representative of. It's not semantic clarity. It's not a matter of it being the case that he does not understand what the words fucking mean because it's defined what the concept actually is. I've given him, sorry, my belief of what I think a concept is, and I've also told him that I believe that in the case of existence, I believe it is a second order property, and I told him in what sense it's going to be some second order property. It's going to be a second order property, I should say, sorry, insofar as it's going to be descriptive of epistemic relations and meta epistemic statuses of given objects. So these things were already clarified insofar as my belief and my analysis on and what a second order property actually is, as well as the fact of me believing that it is a predicate, right? So these are clarified, the words are clarified, the jargons are clarified. The dumb fuck originally did not know what Hegelian idealism was. I clarified that for him also, gave him a free lecture on that too. So there's no word in the argument, which is conceptually ambiguous or requires any clarification, at least given what he knows about the argument this far. So all the questions he's asking me is going to be fundamentally irrelevant to progress in the dialectic, right? So again, right, he claimed originally he had objections, he has objections. Now I'm asking him, what are the objections to the argument? Every single question which is not aiming towards asking me what I mean by a particular word is just going to be taken to be an irrelevant question if it is not going to be a skeptical objection insofar as you're asking me to prove a claim, or it's going to be an objection in the form of you giving a counter argument as to why a given claim in the argument is false. Right? So again, either you ask me to prove a claim or you disprove a claim, or I'll take your concession on the given conversational topic itself and just leave the fucking voice call. So again, give a goddamn objection. Stop giving schizophrenic fucking meltdown tangent, temper tantrum bullshit sessions. Right? Give a fucking objection. Right? And from there on, we can make some meaningful fucking progression. Okay? What's your objection to the fucking argument?
All right. there are a few things to address here. So, first, like what I want to address first is that, you went through this, sort of chain of explaining what happened in the conversation. So you said, I clarified this, I clarified that. But, you conveniently left out the most recent thing I was asking about. And just to clarify for the audience and for you guys only, because I think we all already know that Apollo's not going to answer or engage, unfortunately. The question was, is it the case that when this epistemic relation is absent between the word and the world, you know, is it the case that this entails or implies or means that the object in question is a mind independent object? And, this is relevant because, it gets into concerns about whether or not it's sort of bootstrapping or presupposing, what needs to be justified or what needs to be shown. And sort of that's why, I was asking these questions, right? And I think it's all very sensual and, very intimate, but I don't think Apollo's respecting, the intimacy or sensuality of the conversation. I'm just very disappointed and disrespected by that. And so those are some of my thoughts on like the first point. And the second point, I just don't know how to deal with this. It's just really, really sad. Like with all my other patients, it goes really nice, but like this one's like a tough customer. But I guess we all just keep trucking along, don't we? I mean, So, what else do we have to address? Oh, yeah. So, look, earlier I sort of said something about like how you got face mogged by Westbound in the announcements channel, and I think that might have hurt your feelings a bit, and so you might want to stop being friends with me. But I want to keep being friends with you because I really like bullying you and shitting on you because it makes me feel better about myself because somebody like you exists. So I'm very grateful to you for existing. And ironically, that sort of circles back to my point about how you can't, sort of clarify exactly what you mean by existence. Because not only are you ugly as fuck, and not only do you get mocked by Westbound, who also, comedically mocked you in the sort of interaction you had with them earlier, you're also retarded, like clinically retarded. And that sort of circles back to how I said you're my patient because I think you're hallucinating all of this and you're actually inside of a fucking strip jacket, right? And you're facing a white wall, and right now I'm behind you. I'm behind a one-way mirror, right? And I'm whispering into your ear very nasty and very bad things. And this is all done to make you, engage with the substance. And the substance essentially takes the form of an ice pick that's being driven into your frontal lobe because I'm giving you a lobotomy because you've been a very bad person and bad people need to be deleted, right? And so what we're doing right now is we're deleting you and replacing you with somebody who's better, somebody who's smarter, somebody who's faster. And I just want to say that this person already exists, right? And it just so happens that this person is named Shinra, right? And that Shinra is just the improved Apollo, right? Shinra is faster, Shinra is smarter, Shinra is harder, Shinra is longer, Shinra is thicker, Shinra is more rhetorical, Shinra is better. Shinra is better in every capacity. My bad, my bad. Anyways, you know, Shinra's just better in every way, and that's why he sort of bitched you in your conversation with him, right? And I think it's okay. Just like we can just sort of put a pin in that, right? And we can sort of go onto the other relevant pressing topic, which was let me just start this by bringing up a reminder, right? So you said that you had a sort of timer, right? And if I didn't meet your condition, before the timer was over, you said you'd fuck off and leave the VC and sort of take it as a concession. Now, I noticed that your timer, ran out about 10 minutes ago, and for some reason you're still in the voice in the voice chat, right? And it just seems like you don't respect yourself there. I mean, if you don't respect the own boundaries and promises you make to yourself, then how can anybody else respect you, right? I mean, like, if you continue like doing all this stuff and you continue like setting deadlines for yourself, setting conditions for yourself, and you just don't meet them, then that just sort of keeps ruining your sense of self, right? Like, it keeps worsening how you feel about yourself because you can't even make a promise to yourself. You can't even keep a promise to yourself. That's how pathetic you are. I think right now you're just a mangled whole of feelings and thoughts, right? And these thoughts are only semi-coherent, right? And these feelings are very rabid and very immature, right? And so what you want to do is you want to have a person suit, right? And this person suit is something you wear so you can receive validation and acceptance from other people. But unfortunately, your person suit is thrifted. And because of this, it means your person suit is not very appealing, right? It means your person suit is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. And this is why, nobody likes you. This is why, in your debate with Sinfa about 6 months ago, you got yelled at by your neighbor. Your neighbor told you to, quote unquote, shut the fuck up. And that was sort of very traumatic to you. And, I just want to bring that up to, sort of probe the sort of emotional responses you're going to have. And I noticed that, you're still in the VC and you're still listening, right? And I expect that you're taking notes on this, right? Like you said you were earlier. So, you said you were like writing things that I was saying down. And I think that's very good. And I hope you're doing the same thing here, right? Because this is very important. This is a life lesson. I just want to improve all of us in a very, you know, meaningful and wonderful way. So, I mean, look, before we wrap this up, I just want to give shout outs to, everybody in the VC. So, shout out Gios, shout out D1, shout out Infinity, shout out Yugi, shout out Eric, shout out Goons. I mean, all of these wonderful people who are here with the VC with us right now. I mean, that's sort of wonderful, right? And I think this is something that we can all, sort of congregate around and celebrate, as people in a communion and in a society, right? And so I guess, what I really want to stress is that Apollo did not answer my question. He did not answer my question. And I just want to let everybody, I just want to let everybody know that because he didn't answer my question, he's going to lose. He's going to lose this debate. And that's just inevitable, right? And I feel like this is sort of an important concept because, look, we all know he's going to lose. We all know that he's going to walk out of this conversation, you know, with a sort of loss on his belt, another loss on his very wide fucking belt, right? And I think it sort of represents, death, right? Because death is an inevitable loss. Death is something that pursues us all as something which makes us all a loser in the end. And I think this reflects on how Apollo has a deep fear of death. He does not want to die. He wants to be Apollo. He wants to hail Apollo. He wants to be the one to be the.
All right, someone muted him. It wasn't me, but I think it was about damn time,
That
bro.
was me. It's been like 15 minutes. So just to respond to the actual arguments, because you're just wasting my time. So yeah, first and foremost, it's just speaks volumes of the low caliber of the server, right? You head into debates to debate about God's existence. Someone gives you an actual argument for why God exists, and you spend 15 minutes ranting to yourself about whispering in someone's ears, you mispronouncing the word hallucinating as hallucinin, and you symbol again, like you spitting over your words. This is rhetoric. This is supposed to be the signs of good debaters around here. I mean, this is just really sad. This is pathetic to actually witness. But unlike the retard, I'll do something which is called talking about the relevant topic, talking about, the topic that we agreed upon, talking about whether or not God exists. Unlike the retards, which is this guy and Westbound respectively, who can't stay on track because they have no intellect, no argumentation. This is their coping mechanism and their defense against someone who is far more intellectually superior, someone who is their intellectual and rhetorical and dialectical predator, right? Just to get back to the point, right? So we
Yo, who muted, bro?
objection to the
Look,
freaking
we're
argument.
all
That's
aware
number
that you're a
one.
predator, Apollo.
And you're
Yo,
still
wait,
going because you're
We're
scared
all
of fucking
fucking
point.
aware
You're
of that,
scared. You're
Apollo.
scared.
yo,
We're all
And we get it.
Mercury,
Don't
fucking
panic.
aware of
Don't
that.
panic. We know you're
We're all
scared. We know you
fucking
don't want
aware
to
of
debate.
Apollo.
We know you just want to derail the conversation, and you got mute like a good bitch.
Yo, shut up, nigger.
bro. Who is doing that, bro? Mercury, if that's you,
So
kid.
anyway, just to talk about the actual argument, because of course no one cares about the actual debates here, because this server
Nobody
is
cares about you, Apollo.
infested with low IQ cockroaches, by the way. Right. So
Libs
just
gonna
to be clear on
make
a couple of
one.
things, right? We have established. Pipe down there, monkey. You can get your turn afterwards.
That's ironic, calling
So
me a
we've
monkey.
established. Aslick, pipe down, son. Relax. Good boy. So, anyways, we've established that the retard is not given any objection to the argument. No objection to any of the premises he has read. He has not even asked me to prove a single claim, right? That's just going to be an automatic sort of failure, dialectical failure on the basis of burden of rejoinder. That's number one. Number two is simply that I've established as to why all the words, all the terminologies have been clarified. Okay, we're not going to do an infinite regress, whereas we ask, okay, what is this? What's your belief on this? What's your belief on that? Without you tying it back to the fucking topic. Okay, if it is not something which is going to be you asking me to clarify what I mean by a particular word, then it's fundamentally irrelevant. If it is not going to be a skeptical objection in the form of you asking me to prove something, are you asking me how I would basically reconcile a given contradiction in my position? You're not asking me how I would reconcile a contradiction, sorry, or how it's going to be the case that my position lacks proof. You're not requested or interrogated for any proof or any evidence for any of the propositions. And again, about the existence stuff, to be clear in this, we've already went over the existence parts, right? And you're just running the timer by going back to a point which you've already hashed out, you've already went over, and to basically derail again from the current point of the conversation, which is for you to give an actual goddamn fucking objection to the fucking argument, right? That's number one. Existence. I don't have a fleshed out semantics of existence, and I think that's irrelevant, right? I think we all have a notion of what existence actually is, even if it is not the case that it is something which has a particular semantics. So that question, just first and foremost, is not attacking any of the points of the argument, right? All I'm saying there in this given context, and I'm saying God exists objectively, is just to say that God is a part of the external world. Just like how a retard like you exists externally to one's mind, God exists in the same sort of fashion insofar as he's not dependent on any imaginations or any mental states. He's a part of the external world. Okay, that's basically the conclusion of the argument. And so I've asked the retard repeatedly to give an objection to the argument, give me an objection to any of the premises of the argument. He is not given any objection. He went on a derailed tangent talking about some fantasy stories about face mog and about neighbors yelling like are you okay? Are you schizo? But I'm gonna just ignore the sort of like mental illnesses this patient, of course, has, and just focus morely on the relevant argumentation as I've emphasized on previously. Right, I'm going to ask you again. Right, do you have any objection? And I repeat, do you have any objection to any of the fucking premises? If so, tell me the objection. Is it going to be a skeptical objection in the form of you asking me for evidence or proof for a particular proposition? Or is it going to be an objection in the form of you highlighting the contradiction or showcasing why something is false? If any of your questions moving forward is neither of these two types of responses, and it is not seeking semantical clarity, I'm going to take that to be you losing the debate automatically, in virtue of you not even talking about the argument, and from there on, we can end the recording and not continuously engage in this fucking snooze fest, whereas you rant to yourself for like 15 fucking.
Or semantical conditions.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, premise 3 means if, for anything with semantical or conceptual conditions, it is either identical to a concept or something that isn't a mere concept. And what if I just, say we have unicorn prime, right? And unicorn prime is such that, it's within the conceptual content of unicorn prime that it exists
Hmm.
mind independently, or it is mind independent.
Well, you forgot the parts where we talked about how the premises, the first two premises, is about first order properties. So this is what I'm talking about. Mistrack of Doom again. Mind dependent and mind independent, as I've highlighted on this recording, which you can check back by the way, I've explicitly stated these are second order properties.
Well,
So that means
I'm
these will
attributing
not be
it to
relevant. So
I'm
that means
attributing it to the predicate.
he's
I'm
running again.
attributing it to the
He's
predicate of unicorn.
panicking.
So it
He's
is second.
panicking.
It is second
Realized
order.
he's
So I'm
fucked up
attributing
on the fucking
I'm
argumentation, and he's panicking. He's getting blown the fuck out again. Right. So it would not be the case that mind dependent and mind independence would be the type of thing which is relevant to the set of properties which are using to determine intelligibility, because I've specified in the early parts of this discussion that by intelligibility, I'm specifically talking about the first order properties, and have highlighted the reason as to why mind dependence and mind independent is not the type of thing which is going to be relevant to the set of conditions which is going to be determinant in existence, you dumb fucking retard. So you forgot
That's
that
not
part
what I
because
was
you're
talking
so
about.
focused on going in the snooze fest. So do you have any new objection to the fucking argument since the first one failed?
Look,
Yeah,
so
you retard.
the claim was that unicorn prime has it such that it's a second order predicate of the predicate unicorn prime that it is mind independent. So, like, do you accept this or do you reject this?
Yeah, so you just baked in the same property which I just told you would not be relevant to determinant existence. So you just like
Well, I
conceded
mean, it,
again,
it
I guess,
doesn't
automatically.
matter. Wait, are you
It
saying
does
it's
matter because
irrelevant?
you'd not be attacking the
Are you
argument
saying
anymore, just try to
did
box
you
him.
say it's
You
irrelevant
just
for
said a
determining?
box him.
Did you say it's
Are we
irrelevant
gonna
for
attack the
determining?
argument or are gonna keep on
Did you
fighting
say
the
it's
demons in your head
irrelevant
right
for
now?
determining existence?
I said your point is irrelevant.
Okay,
Are you
so
retarded?
did you say that mentioning mind independence as a second order predicate was irrelevant for its existence?
No, I said your point is irrelevant.
Okay, but did you say anything about mind independence being irrelevant?
The determinant existence and the concepts of the first two premises, yes.
Okay,
We don't use that to determine
so
whether or
you
not something
answered
exists.
yeah.
We're not going to define
This guy's a
something. We're
fucking
not going to
retard.
define
You just
something
contradicted
as
yourself, idiot.
being
You
mind
fucking
independent,
dumbass.
because that's going to
You're
be
so fucking
something which is
retarded,
going to commit
bitch.
the category error.
Can
What's
we
that?
get a mute on the butt?
Can you get a view of what? Can you
You
get
guys
an actual
want
objection to
moderation?
the fucking argument?
Sure, bro.
Yeah, I want moderation, please.
Don't worry, guys. I got
Thank
you.
you, bro. Thank you so much. You don't understand how grateful I am for that.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, anyways, if you're just saying that mind independence isn't relevant for determining whether or not exists, I agree. I agree that, like, what I mentioned earlier was that it has semantic or conceptual content. And you agreed that it does have semantic or conceptual content. And so it's trivially the case that unicorn is either mind dependent or mind independent. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm extrapolating for that, or making sort of parity. So we have unicorn prime, which is a highly related but new concept to unicorn, which just bakes into it that it is mind independent, or refers to something mind independent. And this is supposed to be a predicate of the predicate unicorn prime. And if this is the case, then it has to be the case that unicorn prime exists mind independently. So that's just sort of reductive to your view, because unicorn prime does not exist because unicorns don't exist. And so I just want you to clarify which part of this objection was false, and then give the argument for why it's false.
Yeah, beautiful. So, just a clarification for the retard. Yeah, so on the recording in the same discussion, you specifically asked me, what is going to be the type of thing which I'm utilizing in the first couple of premises to determine existence, and is it going to be the case that it is a predicate or a second order property or a first order property? I clarified that part. Then I told you what specifically would be irrelevant to the first two premises. And irrespective of me clarifying what is meant by the first two premises and what would be irrelevant given the semantics of the phrases and the terminologies in the two premises, you proceeded to go back to the same fucking element which we have already granted to be irrelevant as a means of giving a reductio to the fucking arguments, like the dumb fuck you actually are. And there are a plethora of recordings of me specifying that, of course, when you're talking about properties, right, it's going to be the case that the properties which are going to be relevant to the semantical and conceptual content would be the first order ones. That was clarified on this recording, in this conversation. So for it to be appealing to something like mind dependence and mind independence would be something which is irrelevant to the argument. It's not you attack the arguments anymore, you just shut the box in. Right? So a clarification on the unicorn prime example. It would not be the case that the mind-dependent feature would be the conceptual or the semantical content, which would be referenced in the first two premises, which I believe determines existence, for the main reason being that mind dependence and mind independence, as I've elaborated and explicated on previously, are second order properties. They are meta epistemic statuses, right? And I've elaborated on this. I've told you this. They are second order properties, right? Those things are not the properties you're referencing in the premises when you're talking about conceptual and semantical content, to which you have actually granted this part. You've acknowledged this clarification, moved on from this, then proceeded to forget the fucking clarification and gave an objection which is incompatible with the same clarification you fucking granted because you're fucking stupid. Again, that would not be relevant to it. So again, you're not going to be using mind independence into the definition of something because that's not going to be the type of thing which is going to be determining the ontology of something or the metaphysical profile of something with respect to whether or not it is something which exists. Right? I've clarified this. So again, I'm going to ask you, do you have an objection which attacks the goddamn argument, which attacks the sort of relevant analysis which is being utilized in the concept of semantical or conceptual conditions in the argument, or are going to keep on imposing your own standards onto the conversation as a means of creating this false pretense or to create this facade that you're
Yo, my
actually
dick is
attacking
hard
the
right now.
argument when in fact you're not attacking the argument.
My dick is so hard right now.
Right. I mean, before we get to the debate, I just want to ask. Actually, I'm just going to point it out in chat. So look here.
Is it the lips?
Yeah, I just want to know who made that. Like, who made that video? Just gonna give that 10 seconds of time. So apparently we have a volunteer. Halo Apollo made it.
Wait, what
I look
video?
like a fucking.
Yo,
I
what
sound like a
video? What
fucking
video y'all talking
demon.
about?
Oh, basically we're talking about like, why is Apollo retarded and why he got face mogged by Westbound. That's like the
Oh
conversation
shit.
right now. Yeah.
Oh wait.
So like,
Shit.
do you have like an explanation or like a candidate for why he got mogged by Westbound?
Unironically, he's like so ridiculous. I mean, he's Jamaican, and black people are just like naturally just gonna get mugged by
Mhm.
non-black people.
Yeah,
So, sometimes.
yeah. The
Oh,
mandula
T,
is
you're
recessed.
black saying that shit, bro. What's
I'm not
wrong with
black,
you,
nigga. I'm not
kid?
black, fuck nigga. I'm not black, fuck nigga.
Are we
He's not
still
black.
debating,
But
or is it going to be like a jerk off session?
Look, I'm getting to the objection. Just calm down.
Then
Jesus.
give the
bro,
objections, little
wait.
boy.
So nah, but like I have a reason
Shut the
though
fuck
because
up,
his
Apollo.
mandula is a little recessed. That's what. That's the reason.
His mandila's recessed. Okay. Are there
Yeah.
any other reasons?
Uh, I don't know. Might something else might be the reason. I don't know. I don't know just yet. I'm still looking at him a little bit. I'm still
We have to
analyzing his face.
investigate. Yeah. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to do there is like with my objection there. I'm not claiming that it being mind dependent is relevant for like determining whether or not it exists, or like its actual like ontological committing properties. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is actually that it's a condition for the conditions of unicorn prime. That's what it means for it to be second order predicate, and so that just applies a condition on the conditions. And I agree that it's not relevant for doing the work that we're talking about, because the first order conditions to that work. What I'm saying is I'm just stipulating that the first order conditions have some such conditions. I just want you to explain either how it's not entailed that the conditions have these conditions. Okay, like deny like what's being supposed by hypothesis. Or I just want you to explain where the original argument went wrong that I gave.
Yeah, so he just basically forgot what the actual argument was about because he was too focused on his pathetic little man-child rhetorical grandstand yet again, right? I've specified again, and I'll do it one more time, and perhaps even a couple more times, until it finally registers in his thick skull. Okay? In the first two premises, when you're talking about semantical or conceptual conditions, we're specifically talking about the first order semantical or conceptual conditions. This has been clarified on numerous different occasions to the retard. Even when he asked me what I believe determines existence, I told him what I believe determines existence, then specify the type of semantical or conceptual conditions. I'm not saying that you're making the claim that these things are relevant to determining whether or not something is ontologically committed, but I'm saying that given what my view is, and given what is referenced in the premises, it's not relevant to my view either. You're debating someone else. You're not actually attacking my argument. You're not debating me. You just shed a box and you're just attacking some demons or something. You're not attacking the actual argument. You're trying to build up a straw man of the argument to slap it down. You won't attack the actual argument. That's what you're doing right now. Right? The argument is talking about first order semantical or conceptual conditions. Did you acknowledge this? Yes, you acknowledged this. Did not give any objection, did not deny that this was what the argument was about. You acknowledged this clarification early on when I gave the distinction between first order and second order properties, and then explicated as to why it would in fact be the case that the second order ones is not going to be the types of conditions which is referenced by any of the premises when determining existence. That was specified, that was clarified, that was made pretty clear and obvious for you to understand, for even a retard like you to understand, and yet still you don't understand for some fucking reason. And that's concerning, firstly. I want to also add on to this, right? That anytime you give an objection, whereas the objection is going to be predicated upon, let's say, a misinterpretation of someone's points, or not attacking the intentions, what the person is actually saying, that should not be a relevant objection anymore. And so my point here is to say your objection is not relevant to what my argument is talking about, because my argument is talking about first order properties. And so it doesn't matter if you're going to be saying that it's going to be a predicate or a condition of a condition, that's irrelevant. So long as the condition that's going to be referenced or the property which fixes that condition is going to be either mind independent or mind dependent. If it's one of these two properties, then it's not going to be talking about the argument, it's going to be an irrelevant objection. So, of course, we're not going to define something to be, let's say, a bachelor is going to be an unmarried man, which is mind independent. The mind independent part is going to be irrelevant to the semantics of what a bachelor actually is, given the fact that the way in which I'm cashing out semantical conditions is going to be confined to first order properties. The way in which I'm basically, assessing conceptual conditions in the context of determinate existence is also confined to first order properties, meaning that it necessarily excludes the properties of the above, mind independence and mind dependence. Talking about these properties would not be attacking the argument. So I'm going to give you another try. Attack the argument.
Call him a slur. Call him a slur. Call him a slur. Call him a slur. Call him.
Sorry, can you repeat the past 30 seconds? I was reading chat and watching Hyde, blaze in chat. Thanks.
Holy hide, fucking niggas. Holy hide, fucking niggas. Holy hide, fucking
Yo,
niggas.
Apollo.
I'm not repeating anything.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then I just
Because this is like the third time I'm
like
saying the same point, by the way, so I'm
based
not
on what
sure
I
that
did
helps you.
here, based on what I did here, just didn't attack the argument. So that's fine.
Wait, so you agreed to not attack the argument? I grant that. So
I agreed that you
we
did
can end the
not
recording.
attack the art. You're so retarded.
I'm retarded?
Look, I think you have like an issue of speaking.
Are you looking at yourself right now in this conversation?
Yes,
Like
I'm
you
looking at
literally
myself.
did not ask
I
me
am
to prove
looking at myself,
anything.
Paula. I am
I
looking at
did not
myself.
even have to prove a single claim in this debate. This is the easiest fucking debate I've had, and I've debated fucking retards like TikTok debaters like he or Sand, for example. This is the
Oh,
easiest fucking
filthy
debate.
over.
I'm
Not a
assuming y'all are
single
done.
claim. Yeah, we're basically done. Just end the recording. Just end the recording. This is
Hey,
embarrassing
Apollo,
stuff.
nigger,
Let's
Apollo.
like
Great.
over